Popcorn Sutton. Marvin Sutton was known as Popcorn, a nickname he got as a young man for shooting up a bar's popcorn machine when he lost patience with it. He was a third-generation Appalachian moonshiner from Cocke County, North Carolina, and by the early 2000s he was the most recognizable practitioner of his trade in America. He had a beard that reached the middle of his chest, and he wore overalls, a felt hat, and most days, a pistol on his hip. He had written a memoir titled Me and My Likker in 1999, and had been featured in the 2008 documentary The Last One. In 2007, federal agents raided his property and seized more than 1,000 gallons of illegal liquor and a working still. In 2009, at 62, he pleaded guilty to producing distilled spirits without a license and to possessing firearms as a convicted felon. He was sentenced to 18 months in federal prison. He asked the court to let him serve the time in a nursing home. The court refused. On March 16, 2009, 3 days before he was scheduled to report, he was found dead at his home in Parrotsville, Tennessee. He was 62. Discovery's Moonshiners premiered 2 years later, in December 2011. The first season's archival footage of moonshining tradition is, in significant part, his. Lance Waldroup. Lance Waldroup was 20 when he joined Moonshiners in its second season, appearing alongside his father Jeff, a veteran North Carolina bootlegger who had been running stills since Lance was a child. Father and son were on the show for 6 years, from 2012 to 2017. Then Lance began to struggle in ways the cameras did not follow. By the time he stepped away, he was fighting an opioid dependence that had begun with a legitimate prescription years earlier, and according to those close to him, had deepened into a depression he did not know how to name. He also weighed nearly 600 pounds. He tried, and largely failed, to get on top of any of it. His mother found him at his home in North Carolina on February 25, 2021. He had been outside smoking and had come back in to play video games. He was 30. An autopsy attributed his death to congenital heart failure, a condition he had lived with since birth, exacerbated by the addiction and the weight. A GoFundMe page his family set up afterward said only that Lance had, in his last months, been trying to turn his life around. His father, Jeff, quietly left the show at the same time. He has not been back. Tom Hedrick. Tom Hedrick appeared on Moonshiners from its second season in 2012 until his failing health pulled him off camera around 2017. He was already in his early 70s when Discovery found him, still running stills in the hills around Robbinsville, North Carolina, still singing his own folk songs, still wearing the yellow felt hat that had become his trademark. He had grown up inside Appalachian moonshining and had done nearly every job the trade offered. He had a long criminal record from various brushes with the law over the years, none of which had ever quite made him stop. He mentored many of the show's younger distillers, Mark Ramsey and Digger Maines among them, and Sugarland's distillery in Gatlinburg eventually released a legal version of his recipe under his name. In his last years, he was in a nursing home in Robbinsville, on dialysis for the kidney disease that would eventually kill him. He died there on September 6, 2023, of kidney cancer, at 82. Discovery, in the statement it released the week after his death, described him as a legend of Appalachia. Sugarlands called him one of the most skilled moonshiners in the South. Sugarlands still sells his shine. Kenny Law. Kenny Law came to Moonshiners for its 8th season, in 2018. He was a third-generation distiller from Franklin County, Virginia, the region of Appalachia known for over a century as the moonshine capital of the world. He was cast alongside his cousin Henry Law, and the two of them played on screen exactly what they had been their whole lives. Fruit brandy specialists who worked the Blue Ridge Hills the same way their fathers had. Both cousins had already done federal prison time before the show, Prosecutors had once offered Kenny a reduced sentence for testifying against other moonshiners. He had refused, and served years in federal custody rather than name names. Henry had made the same choice. Their code, as they later described it to Discovery, was older than either of them. You do not name names no matter what. Kenny suffered a heart attack in 2024. He was in and out of the hospital through the fall of that year. In January 2025, at his family's local hospital in Virginia, he died of complications from a blood infection that followed the heart trouble. He was 68. Law's Choice Distillery, the legal operation the cousins had built together, is now run by Henry alone. Henry Law. Henry Law is the reason Kenny Law had a cousin on Moonshiners. The two of them had been running stills in the hills around Rocky Mount, Virginia, together since they were teenagers, Franklin County boys who grew up inside the family trade. They had also, both of them, been to federal prison for it. The story was the same on each occasion. Federal prosecutors had offered a reduction of the sentence in exchange for names. Henry had refused. Kenny had refused. Both had served their time at Petersburg. Neither, according to interviews they gave afterward, had ever regretted it. When Kenny died in January 2025, Henry took over Law's Choice Distillery. They had been on Moonshiners together since 2018, when Discovery brought both cousins in as fruit brandy specialists working the Blue Ridge foothills. They almost never appeared separately. Henry is still on the show, as of its 15th season, working the same fruit brandies the two of them had made together for 40 years, quieter now, and on the surviving cast members telling, still refusing to inform on anyone. Stephen Ray Tickle. Stephen Ray Tickle had already been on Moonshiners for 4 years, and had briefly had his own Discovery spin-off, called simply Tickle, in 2013, when, in 2015, a state trooper pulled him over on a traffic stop in Pittsylvania County, Virginia, and found a sawed-off shotgun in his vehicle. He was driving with a suspended license at the time. Neither of these was legal for a Virginia man with prior convictions, and both charges were filed. He was sentenced in 2016 to a 3-year suspended prison term. Then he violated probation and served 5 months in jail. Then he violated it again and served over a year. Somewhere along the way, in an interview with the show's cameras, he said, "You either laughing or you're crying in jail. There is no in-between." He came back to Moonshiners in its 7th season. In 2019, he married a bail bondswoman named Carol Ann. In 2023, he and Carol Ann opened a diner in Ringgold, Virginia, called the Tickle's Table. In 2025, they were baptized together at a river church in Chatham. He is 49, still on the show, and so far has stayed out of jail.
Somebody got hurt really bad.
He's going to die.
Remember tuning in to Deadliest Catch, hearing the Bering Seas roar and knowing real lives were on the line? For longtime fans, Todd Kochutin's story is a gut punch. He wasn't a household name like Wild Bill or Sig, but if you watched season 17's finale, The Ultimate Price, you felt the shift. News spread like wildfire. The Patricia Lee had lost a man. On the Summer Bay, Wild Bill went silent, waiting for confirmation. Every captain, every crew member held their breath. Todd was just 30.
What's Todd? Todd's the one that died.
An 800-pound crab pot ended his life in an instant, a brutal reminder of how real the danger is. He'd already lost his parents, brother, and sister. When Todd died, he was the last of his family. But he was more than a deckhand. Todd's grit and passion for the sea made him a favorite among captains and crewmates alike. He spent years facing the Bering Sea, fishing king crab, opilio, cod, and pollock living, for the water that ultimately claimed him. Rest easy, Todd. You'll always be part of the deadliest catch family gone, but never forgotten.
Well, I'm gonna do my best. That's what I'm here to do.
Right on, man.
Hey Chicago, Nick McGlashan here from Deadliest Catch on Discovery Channel.
If you watched Deadliest Catch, you remember the fire in his eyes, sleeves rolled up, laughter echoing through the storm. Deck boss on the Summer Bay, seventh-generation fisherman, born in Alaska, crabbing since he was 13. Nick was more than Wild Bill's right hand. He was the soul of the crew, the comeback kid who wore his scars out loud.
And the champion of the hook toss is Nick McGlashan! Yeah!
But off deck, the battles raged. Nick fought addiction, heroin, meth, alcohol openly, bravely.
I'm an alcoholic, I'm a drug addict, and I can't live life that way.
In 2016, he was suspended from the show. He went to rehab, clawed his way back, and inspired others with his grit. Fans saw him rise, fall, and rise again. Then, December 2020, Nashville. A hotel room, a toxic mix meth, cocaine, fentanyl. Nick was gone at 33. The news hit like a rogue wave. He left behind 2 children, a legacy of hard work, and a hole in the heart of the fleet. Nick gave everything to the sea. Now, the Bering is one soul quieter, and the deck will never feel the same.
Thanks for keeping us safe.
Love you, man.
Love you, Nick! Rest in peace, my brother!
Think back to Deadliest Catch, the sleepless runs, the relentless seas, the kind of exhaustion that bends even the toughest crews. Among them was Mahlon Reyes, quiet, gritty, the deckhand you rooted for. He wasn't on our screens long, just 14 episodes, grinding it out on the Seabrook and Cape Caution, but his work ethic and heart were unmistakable. Off camera, Mahlon was recovering from a torn Achilles, determined to return for another season. But in July 2020, at just 38, tragedy struck. Home in Whitefish, Montana, Mahlon suffered a massive heart attack. He never regained consciousness, and his family made the heartbreaking decision to remove him from life support the next day. Months later, officials revealed the cause, an accidental cocaine overdose. His death shook the Deadliest Catch family. His wife, 4 children, and crewmates who scattered his ashes at sea. Mahlon Reyes, tough, loyal, relentless, a fisherman's fisherman, forever part of the Bering Sea Brotherhood.
Hey, don't be laughing, because I know the saying. Just remember that. I know how to get you back.
The name alone was the Bering Sea Gritty, relentless and real. He wasn't just the captain of the Cornelia Marie, he was its soul. Fans met Phil in the early days of Deadliest Catch, his sons Josh and Jake at his side, their bond forged in storms and saltwater. He started fishing with his dad at 8, and by 21 he was one of the youngest skippers on the Bering, already a legend in the making. Phil's life was hard-charged, chain-smoking, wisecracking, never backing down from a fight or a wave. In 2010, during season 6, tragedy struck.
911, what's your emergency?
I think my dad had a stroke.
While offloading crab at St. Paul Island, Phil suffered a massive stroke. Cameras kept rolling as he fought through surgery and a coma, even scribbling a note, "You've got to finish the story." For a moment, hope flickered. He squeezed hands, spoke to his sons. But on February 9th, at just 53, the sea claimed one of its fiercest captains.
Phil Harris, the fishing boat captain, whose adventures off the Alaska coast were captured on the television show Deadliest Catch, has died.
Discovery's tribute wasn't just for Phil, it was for every fan who felt the loss. Phil Harris wasn't just a captain, he was a force of nature, and his wheelhouse will always echo in the heart of Deadliest Catch.
stepping up to the plate, doing a good job. Real proud to see that.
When the Cornelia Marie lost Phil Harris, the heart of the ship seemed gone. But in season 7, a familiar face stepped in. Tony Lara. He wasn't just a replacement, he was family. A trusted friend of Phil's, a veteran who had helped build the Cornelia Marie and worked its decks for years, Tony understood the weight of legacy. Josh Harris called him back in 2011, needing someone steady to guide the crew through grief and rough seas. For 6 unforgettable episodes, Tony brought quiet strength and unwavering resolve, helping the Harris brothers find their footing when the world was watching.
If you're going to teach a guy to do things, you got to stick to those 3 steps.
Then, just 4 years later, tragedy struck again. In August 2015, while attending the Sturgis motorcycle rally, Tony Lara died in his sleep from a heart attack. He was only 50. The news sent shockwaves through the fleet. Tributes poured in. Josh Harris called him a mentor, and Captain Keith Colburn remembered him as a top-notch chief, great captain, and even better friend. Tony Lara's time on Deadliest Catch was brief, but his impact was profound, a steady hand in a storm, and a chapter of healing that fans will never forget.
I don't want to be a pessimist, but it's not looking too good right now.
If you watch Deadliest Catch in its early days, you'll remember Blake Painter, the quiet force on the FV Maverick. He started as a deckhand in season 1, rose to deck boss, and by season 3 was the youngest captain in the fleet. Blake wasn't flashy, but his calm command and deep knowledge of the sea earned respect from crew and fans alike. But off camera, the weight of the wheelhouse never truly lifted. Years after leaving the show, Painter's life took a darker turn. Chronic pain, a near-fatal car crash, and legal troubles, including a heroin arrest just months before his death. In May 2018, at only 38, Blake was found dead in his Oregon home after days of silence. Police discovered prescription pills, heroin, and meth at the scene. Though the official cause of death was never publicly confirmed, the tragedy was unmistakable. Blake Painter was a symbol of a brutal, unforgettable era on the Bering Sea. A young captain whose story ended far too soon, but whose legacy still haunts the fleet. Not every legend on Deadliest Catch is a captain or a seasoned deckhand. Sometimes it's the greenhorns, the rookies who step onto the ice-caked decks with nerves, hope, and something to prove. Ross Jones was one of those rare souls. He joined the FV saga in season 16, a newcomer thrust into Jake Anderson's relentless world as the crew raced toward the Russian border, an ice storm nipping at their heels. For Ross and the other greenhorns, the Bering Sea was more than a job. It was a crucible. His time on the show was brief, just a couple of episodes, but unforgettable. If you remember him, you remember the laughter, the energy, and the raw nerves. In June 2022, fans learned the heartbreaking news. Ross had passed away. Jake Anderson's tribute on Instagram said it all. "I loved Ross Jones. You made me piss my pants on many occasions. To Valhalla." Ross was a young father, survived by his partner Chloe and their son. His last shared memory was a day at the zoo, celebrating his boy's 2nd birthday. No cause of death has been made public, out of respect for his family. But in the short time he was with the fleet, Ross Jones left a mark that will not be forgotten. Not every story is long, but every story matters.
Just new back. Just green.
Season 7 of Deadliest Catch was a storm of challenges, relentless seas, new faces, and the kind of danger that never lets up. Among the crew was Justin Tennison, a deckhand on the FV Time Bandit, brought aboard by Captain Jonathan Hillstrand and working alongside his cousin Eddie Uwakulani. Justin wasn't flashy, but he was solid, a commercial fisherman who'd called Alaska home for 28 years, and a man who knew what it meant to earn every dollar from the sea. Fans only glimpsed him for a single intense season, but those who watched saw someone who fit right in with the hard-edged, hard-laughing crew. Then, just days after returning from the Bering Sea, tragedy struck. On February 22, 2011, Justin was found dead in a Homer, Alaska hotel room. He was only 33. While police found evidence of a party alcohol and marijuana, the autopsy revealed the true cause: complications from sleep apnea, a silent threat even to the toughest among us. Justin left behind 2 children and a final wish: to be cremated and return to the sea he loved. One last journey, forever part of the water that shaped his life. When Deadliest Catch Dungeon Cove hit the airwaves, it brought viewers to Oregon's legendary Graveyard of the Pacific, where the ocean's fury is relentless. But by episode 3, reality struck harder than any script could write.
The Eagle 3 capsized. 3 crew members, Josh Paulus, Danny Matlock, and Blaine Steinmetz, were killed.
On a storm-lashed night in January 2016, the Eagle 3 fought its way toward Coos Bay. 30-mile-per-hour winds, 10-foot waves, and darkness closing in. Captain Glenn Burkow and his crew, Josh Paulus, 31, Danny Matlock, 37, and Blaine Steinmetz, 52, were nearly home when a monstrous wave rolled the boat. In an instant, 3 lives vanished. Blaine's body was later found on the jetty. Josh and Danny were never seen again. Burkow, battered and freezing, clawed his way across the rocks, walking miles for help, a lone survivor haunted by loss.
Wish I could go back. I would trade any of them places, or all of them if I could.
For fans, this wasn't just another spin-off. It was Deadliest Catch at its most unforgiving. Real men, real risk, and a brutal reminder: the sea doesn't care if you're famous, it just takes. Tom Brussard, the quiet force behind the FV saga, passed away on January 27, 2024, just one day after his 64th birthday. If you watch those gritty rebuild years, you remember Tom, not in the spotlight, but always in the engine room, welding, fixing, keeping the heart of the boat alive. He wasn't just Jake Anderson's engineer, he was his best friend, the man who taught him everything about boats. Together, they rebuilt the saga from bow to stern, forging a bond deeper than the Bering Sea. Originally from Everett, Washington, Tom spent decades on the water before settling in the Philippines with his beloved wife, Josephine. There, surrounded by his children, Tommy, Jasmine, and Sarah, and 3 grandchildren, he found peace. But in January, a sudden heart attack took him from his family and from the brotherhood he helped build.
What happened?
When Jake got the call, fans saw the weight of real loss, a reminder that behind every legendary catch is a crew, and sometimes a soul like Tom's holding it all together.
Matt and Eric, welcome to the boats.
Nick Mavar was more than just a deckhand on Deadliest Catch. He was the heart and soul of the FV Northwestern. For 16 seasons and nearly 100 episodes, Nick's steady presence and quiet strength made him a fixture on the Bering Sea, a right-hand man to Captain Sig Hansen and a mentor to many. But in December 2020, Nick's journey took a harrowing turn. A sudden, excruciating pain led to a ruptured appendix, revealing a hidden cancerous tumor. The ordeal forced him off the boat and into a battle for his health, a struggle that played out both on and off camera. culminating in lawsuits over his care during the pandemic. After leaving the show, Nick didn't slow down. He captained his own salmon boat in Bristol Bay, always guiding, always giving back to the next generation of fishermen. On June 13, 2024, tragedy struck. Nick suffered a heart attack at a boatyard in Naknek, Alaska. Despite rapid medical response, he was pronounced dead at 59. The fishing world lost not just a legend, but a friend, a mentor, and a true unsung hero of the sea. Nick Mavar's legacy lives on in every wave, every storm, and every life he touched.
Everybody's smiling right now.
You remember Kimberly, the sweet, stylish big sister with feathered hair and that quiet, steady presence that helped hold the Drummond family together. She wasn't just Arnold's protector or Willis's confidant. She was the emotional glue in a house full of noise. Dana Plato was just 13 when she stepped into the role, full of grace and warmth, always trying to make things right.
If you really want to torture poor little Arnold, why don't you just put him on a rack and stretch him?
But off-screen, Dana's world was already unraveling. The pressure of fame hit early. By her teens, she was turning to drugs and alcohol just to cope. At 19, pregnant and written off the show, the fall came quickly. Scams, an arrest, a media storm she couldn't escape. In 1999, she died at 34 in an Oklahoma motorhome, alone, far from the spotlight she once owned. She played the sister everyone adored, but no one could save her from the silence. It only took one line, "What you talking about, Willis?" And suddenly, Gary Coleman belonged to all of us.
What you talking about, Willis?
As Arnold Jackson, he was lightning in a bottle, small in stature, massive in presence. He lit up different strokes with his wit, his timing, his heart. But behind the catchphrase was a child carrying the weight of an industry. Born with a congenital kidney disease, Gary never grew taller than 4 feet 8 inches. But he grew up fast.
Oh, yeah, life ain't just comic strips, you know?
Despite earning millions, he was left nearly penniless, cheated by the people closest to him. Lawsuits, hospital bills, bankruptcy, it never stopped. In 2010, at just 42, a fall led to a brain hemorrhage. He died quietly in Utah. His voice long faded from the headlines. He made us laugh, but no sitcom ending could fix what fame broke. If you blinked, you might have missed her. But Dixie Carter's season on Different Strokes still lingers. She played Maggie McKinney, the elegant aerobics instructor who married Mr. Drummond, stepping into a family already steeped in love and legacy. With a refined southern edge and quiet strength, she brought grace to the chaos, even if only for one season.
With this ring, I thee wed.
I now pronounce you man and wife. That's it.
But that wasn't her final act. Dixie found her fire as Julia Sugarbaker on Designing Women. Bold, brilliant, unafraid to speak truth with style. She became a television icon. In 2010, she passed at age 70 after a private battle with endometrial cancer. But those who saw her work remember, not every role is center stage. Dixie Carter knew how to leave a spotlight glowing, even after she walked off. By the time Maryanne Mobley entered Different Strokes, the show was already in its twilight. But her Maggie, gentle, maternal, unfailingly poised, felt like a breath of calm after years of turmoil in the Drummond household.
I'm sorry, Nancy, I don't have anything to give you.
Oh, typical man. Forgets anniversaries.
Miss America, 1959, a Golden Globe winner, Elvis co-star, humanitarian. She wore many crowns, but never let one define her. Behind the scenes, she was battling Crohn's disease, quietly fighting while lifting others. She and husband Gary Collins were married 45 years, a rare love story in Hollywood's revolving door. Maryanne Mobley passed away in 2014 at 77, after facing breast cancer with the same quiet grace she brought to every role. In her short run as Maggie, she reminded us what resilience looks like, with a soft voice and an unshakable core. There was something steady about Mr. Drummond, the way he'd walk into a room and, without raising his voice, remind everyone that kindness still mattered. If you grew up in the 80s, you felt it. He wasn't just TV's favorite dad. He was the calm in the storm.
Kimberly is not interested in you. She doesn't want to have anything to do with you. Now, I'd appreciate it if you'd leave.
Conrad Bain brought him to life with dignity and grace. As Philip Drummond, the rich Manhattan widower who adopted 2 boys from Harlem, he wasn't just a sitcom dad, he was a moral compass. The show tackled race, loss, addiction, Bain made sure it never lost its heart.
First, I'm gonna stop a kid that's big enough to put me over his knee. And second, he's not going anywhere anyway. I've seen this before.
He threatened to leave?
No, not him, me.
Off-screen, he was just as grounded. A Canadian stage actor, a World War II vet, a quiet mentor to his young castmates. He passed away in 2013 at 89, but in a world that still feels loud and uncertain, his voice still echoes. Some dads were written, he was remembered. You didn't need to see her enter, you heard her first. That raspy laugh, that voice that could calm chaos or cut through nonsense in one beat. Charlotte Ray didn't just play Mrs. Garrett, she was her.
Hold still, Willis. Oh, you look lovely, Kimberly. Arnold, you look handsome.
I do know that.
As the housekeeper in different strokes, she wasn't fluff, she was backbone. She helped the Drummonds function, reminding them and us that empathy and honesty weren't just values, they were lifelines.
How do you feel, Mrs. Garrett?
I feel like my tongue is wearing a green sweater.
So beloved was her role that she was spun off into the facts of life, guiding a new generation with the same warmth and spark. For 7 seasons, she was everyone's TV guardian, on screen and off. She passed in 2018 at 92, after a long battle with cancer. But her lessons, her laughter, they still ring. She didn't just clean house, she held it together. They made us laugh, they made us care, and they made history. But for some of the different Strokes cast, fame came with a heavy price. From childhood stardom to sudden loss, their journeys remind us how fragile life in the spotlight can be. Which cast member's story moved you the most? Share your thoughts in the comments, like, subscribe, and keep watching as we continue to honor the lives behind the legends. Thank you for watching.